Hello everyone, and welcome back to another speed build video on my channel. I hope you're having a good day, evening, morning, wherever and whenever you're watching this video. So as you can see by the title, today we are building a little marketplace for Mount Komorebi, but you might be wondering, looking at this background, it doesn't look like we're in Mount Komorebi, and you're actually correct because we are in Hinford-on-Bagley. So as you guys know, when it comes to most of the worlds in this game, they're kind of small and we don't really have that many lots to work with, and I found that to be an issue with Mount Komorebi as well, with what I have in mind when it comes to this little save I'm working on. So with that being said, I decided to kind of commandeer Hinford-on-Bagley and make that a part of Mount Komorebi, because even though they are inspired by two different parts of the world, I feel like they still kind of work together, especially with the whole rural atmosphere we have going on. So yeah, I went with taking Hinford-on-Bagley and making it a part of Mount Komorebi, and I'm currently using it as the backdrop for this little marketplace we're building for Mount Komorebi. Now, why are we building for Mount Komorebi? If you don't know, I am currently working on a little mini save for Mount Komorebi because I plan on doing a sort of rags to riches type gameplay in that world. So what I have currently planned is a sim who right now is living in Evergreen Harbor, I believe, and her grandmother recently passed. Her grandmother is Komorebian. She lived in Mount Komorebi. She grew up there her whole life, and after she passed, maybe in her will, she had it written out that her granddaughter, her only grandchild by the way, would be the inheritor of the family farm. Now, this family farm has not been taken care of. I feel like the grandmother just kind of kept it in her back pocket because it was something that was also passed down to her, even though she had no interest in running a farm. So it's pretty dilapidated. It's in bad shape. That's what I'm trying to say. The farm is in very bad shape, and she left it to her granddaughter because she was like, yeah, it's not in the best shape and you probably can't actually use it, but maybe you can, bulldoze it and sell it. Either way, I want this property to stay in our family, so I'm giving it to you. And that is kind of the whole beginning point when it comes to the story, when it comes to the save. So now we're just going around and kind of building up the world of Mount Komorebi, so that way when I do jump into playing with this lady, with this sim I have created, she has a lot of stuff to work with. The world is pretty immersive. She has a lot of things to do, because that is really one of my main goals when it comes to this save. I really want to make this realistic and immersive as possible when it comes to the gameplay. So anyway, that leads us to creating this marketplace where she will be going to sell the crops she has hopefully successfully grown on her farm. Because yeah, you can just sell the crops to like the void and make money that way, but that's boring. I want her to actually have to do work. I want her to actually have to come out here, set up her tables, try to convince people to buy her stuff. I want her to do all that because, like I said, that just makes for more fun and interesting gameplay. So that's what we're doing right now. We're creating basically like a farmer's market type of situation out here with all the vendor tables and food stalls. And I really like how it came out. I think I did a good job in building this lot. Not to pat myself on the back, but pat. The only issue I came across though, once I finished building this lot and I actually tried to play test it, if you didn't notice earlier in the video, this lot is actually set as a community space and the marketplace sublot. So when I went into the game and started play testing everything, unfortunately, just like almost 80% of this game, it was bugged out and broken. The vendors were not spawning. People were not using the little seller's table. They were doing everything else but what they needed to do, which is highly annoying because, as I mentioned before in previous videos, I think community spaces are some of the best lots in the game. They provide so much versatility, and they're just a good way to utilize, I guess, the lack of space we have in most of the worlds. So to find out that this function is broken made me very sad, and I kind of rage quit after I was playtesting because I was like, what the heck? I did all this for you to fail me. But no worries. We pivot, we move. So what I did is I switched this marketplace into a park instead, and it's not perfect, but it kind of is close to what I need because I did a few things. First off, setting it as a park allows people to still come in, a good amount of people to spawn on the lot. They use the chess table, they use the activities I've placed around, so that's good. And then I have some of their mods installed, one of those being extra lot traits that you can place to add more functionality to your builds. So what I did is I placed it their meal vendor trait. I think that's what it's called. So Sims will spawn, or vendors will spawn at the food stalls that I placed around the marketplace, which is good because it makes it look like people are actually out there selling stuff besides my Sim. Now, there's two other things that I want to try. One of those being making clubs for the other parts of this lot that I need to be functional, because luckily clubs still work. So one club I wanted to make was kind of like a garden club, because as you can see, we already started building a little pen down at the front of the lot, and that is going to be the community garden. So my idea for that, well, if it worked as a community space, one of the sublots is a community garden. So Sims will go over there, they'll plant crops, they'll harvest crops, and all that jazz. And I still want that to be a thing. So I'm planning on making a club where their activities revolve around gardening. So hopefully they'll spawn on the lot and they'll take care of that garden like they would if this was set as a community garden. Fingers crossed that it works. Second thing I want to do is either A, find a mod that allows Sims to tin the market or the whatever you call it, the seller's table, so they can sell stuff, or B, maybe try to make a club that has the same kind of function. But yeah, I don't know, it's just really disappointing because even though I have the food vendors working now thanks to that lot 51 trait, I really wanted Sims to be able to sell random stuff at the market, because not only did I want my Sim to be able to come over here and sell stuff, but I wanted them to be able to buy things too. Because for this gameplay, I'm planning on having them have the simple living lot trait on their home, so they're forced to kind of go out and buy stuff. And what better place to buy stuff from than from a marketplace? But unfortunately, it doesn't work. So I'm very much still salty about that. I'm trying not to be, but I'm very much still salty. So yeah, if you guys know of any mods that kind of help with having Sims operate those little selling tables that we got from like City Living and some of those other packs, please let me know. Please help me out because I'm very desperate and I need some guidance. But anyway, I do plan on putting this lot up for download. Matter of fact, when I post this video, there should be a little handy dandy link to my Patreon where you can download this build. Since we had issues with the marketplace, I decided to upload 2 versions. So one version will be set as a park, so you'll have hopefully some functionality out of it. And the second version, because I don't know if marketplaces are bugged for every save, but when I was doing some research online, it sounds like a lot of people are having this issue. But if it's not for you, you can download this as a marketplace. That is an option for you. But yeah, I'm going to include 2 versions just in case, because you never know. But now, after all that talking, let's kind of focus up on the build. So you see things are starting to come together pretty well. I'm now just going around starting to add in the details because I have an understanding of how I want to lay out this marketplace. As you can see, we have the seller stalls in the front. We have some food stalls as you go further into the market, the community garden at the front of the market, and then towards the back, we have the little community space building where you can probably, sit and rest. You can grab a snack and go to the bathroom, and there'll also be some skill building activities in there. And then at the very end of the market, we have a little stage / amphitheater type setup, because when it comes to Mount Komorebi, I view it as basically like a village town. So the community, they're very close, they're very tight, and I feel like they live life in a somewhat more traditional way versus the city. And when I say that, I mean that they really rely on each other heavily. They're not really into technology that much, so they probably come here to get all their news, probably spread the gossip, all that jazz. They have festivals and stuff here. They're really all about community. And plus, the community itself, or I guess the people in Mount Komorebi, they lean more towards an older demographic, so that also kind of plays a factor into the atmosphere and the way that Mount Komorebi is kind of ran. But yeah, it's kind of a little bit of information about this marketplace, and I'll kind of leave you for a minute because I've been talking for like 10 minutes straight. So I'll be back in a little bit as I start to, like I said before, add a little bit more detail to the market. As you can see, the marketplace is starting to come together pretty nicely, if I do say so myself. We have those really nice little lanterns sprinkled throughout the marketplace. I put in some signs, some fixing, some dressing, all that good stuff. So yeah, I really wanted to add a lot of character to this marketplace. I wanted to feel like something that has received a lot of love and attention from the community, because again, this is like their space. This is where everyone comes in Mount Komorebi. So I really wanted it to feel like that when I was building and decorating this lot. But yeah, now we're just fixing up that little community building I mentioned before. And for this building in particular, I think that maybe it used to be some type of home on the lot. Maybe a farm used to be here, and then something happened to the family. You know, maybe they passed, maybe they decided to sell it off. But anyway, when they were turning this lot into the farmer's market, I think the community came together and, you know, they all worked together to fix it up because it was pretty dilapidated. It wasn't in the best of shape before, but they all came together, made it into a space where you can do a little bit of skill building. You can just sit around and chill. And yeah, that's kind of the idea that I have for it. But now we're going around and starting to place some of these trees because, again, we are in Henford on Bagley, and you'll notice that the set dressing kind of conflicts with the style that we're going for on the actual lot. So what I decided to do to kind of mitigate that is place those trees around and most of the landscaping around the lot in kind of like a border. Because personally, when I play The Sims, I like to play with a close-up angle and walls up So my vision is pretty tight when it comes to the game. So that, coupled with the way I went about landscaping this lot, I think it will help from making the scenery and the backdrop of Mount Komorebi too jarring. Like, I think it will help kind of blend things together a bit, if that makes sense. Or at least that's what I think. But anyway, there's not really too much to say about the marketplace. So I guess I'll kind of go into the story that I have for the sim that I plan on playing with in this save. So as I mentioned before, her grandmother passed, and with her passing, she left behind this farm for her granddaughter. Now, the family itself, they have kind of a complicated relationship because the sim, her grandmother is her grandmother on her dad's side. And her dad and her grandmother, they didn't really have the best relationship because her dad, when he got older, when he was going off to university, he decided to leave Komorebi and go to Brightchester. And when he was in Brightchester, he met someone, his future wife. And she is also Komorebian, but unlike the dad, she wasn't born and raised in Mount Komorebi. She was born and raised somewhere that wasn't there, because I don't really know how geography works in The Sims. But yeah, that didn't really make the grandma happy because I think she's a very traditional type. She's very, how would you say it? She's very proud of her heritage and her culture, and she's protective of that, and she wants her son to feel the same way. So when she heard that her son got together with this girl and they got married, she was pretty upset because she always envisioned for him to eventually move back to Komorebi and settle down with someone who was actually born and raised here. And I think it's kind of that thing of, even though the mom is Komorebian herself, like her parents were raised here, even though they immigrated to wherever they are now, the grandma doesn't really view her as Komorebian because she's like, she wasn't raised here. She doesn't really have any idea of the culture. How can you be Komorebian if you don't even speak the language? That type of stuff. So it calls for a bit of conflict between the three of them. But fortunately, the dad is just like kind of like the mediator. He's a super nice guy. So even though all that was happening, he still would try to keep up his relationship with his mother. And he would bring his daughter, which is the sim that we're going to be playing with in this save. He would still bring her over to Mount Komorebi during the summers when she was younger to spend time with her grandma and hopefully learn more about her culture and her heritage here. But unfortunately, the dad did eventually pass away when the sim was still pretty young. I would say when she was maybe like 8 or 9 years old, because he was basically the glue holding everything together. Things just kind of took a turn for the worse. I think the grandmother kind of blamed the mom for the passing of her son, and she took that out on her, which was very unfortunate, and that caused just the rift to grow even bigger between them. So the mom stopped sending the daughter over to visit the grandmother, and the only communication that the granddaughter and the sim had was through letters, because her mom was like, yeah, I'm not sending you over there. Your grandmother, well, she didn't say that to the daughter because she doesn't want, the daughter to feel that way. But she's like, yeah, I'm not sending you over there anymore. So that kind of put an end to that. And it's been a really long time until since the sim has been to Komorebi and really, I guess, immersed herself in the culture and stuff. So as she got older, she kind of grew further and further apart. Like, her mom would every now and then, I guess, like, tell her stories, and she did have her maternal grandparents as well to kind of help keep that connection alive, but it did fade over time because they didn't really put too much pressure on her to learn the language and to just, I don't know how to say it, but yeah, over time that connection just kind of faded. And so now that she has the opportunity to move to Mount Komorebi and build this farm back up, she's kind of excited about it because she feels like maybe this will help strengthen her connection with her dad, because again, he passed away when she was pretty young, but also her heritage and her culture, because she has always been interested in that part of herself, but it's just something that, her mom never really pushed for her to explore. So yeah, now she has the opportunity to do so for herself. And also, she's kind of at a stage where she doesn't really know what she wants to do with her life. So now that she has kind of a set path, she's very eager to move forward with it. I'm sorry, I can't talk. But with that, I think there might be some challenges because she is a pretty naive sim. So even though she does have some interest in farming and raising animals, and she probably has read up on it and stuff to prepare, I think she doesn't really understand how much work it's going to take to get this farm off the ground. Because when I say it's in bad shape, it's in really bad shape. I don't know if you guys have seen the video I made when I was building the farmhouse. But yeah, she has a lot of work cut out for her. And then on top of that, as I said before, she doesn't really have the best knowledge when it comes to Mount Komorebi and the culture and the language here. So moving to this place and living here full time is going to be a bit of a challenge because I plan on using that language mod. I forgot what it's called, but she's going to actually have to learn the language in order to communicate and survive here. So that's going to cause for some awkward situations. She might end up feeling like isolated and alone because, again, you don't really know anyone or anything here. Her only connections to this place are gone. They passed away. So she has a lot of work cut out for her, and she doesn't really realize that yet. So I think that should make for a pretty interesting storyline and gameplay. So that's why I'm very excited to play this with you all. I think it'll be really fun, especially the whole rags to riches aspect. It's always a fun time. And yeah, that's pretty much her story and what you need to know about her. But now we're almost to the end of this video. We're just going around doing some landscaping. I had a bunch of grass because I don't know what it is, but nowadays when it comes to landscaping, I'm just really into adding like this grass specifically. It's either this one or the one from high school years because I feel like it just fills in the space so much. Because a lot of times, I don't know, the landscaping or the surrounding environment, it can feel a bit flat. So I've been really into adding grass and rocks and those little flower thingies that we got from Henford on Bagley. Maybe I'm going overboard. That is a possibility, but to me, I think it looked nice. And again, like I said earlier, it kind of creates that little border effect around the lot to hopefully kind of separate it from the existing environment that we have in Henford on Bagley. But I'm very excited to play in the save and explore this save because I did something a bit different where for the first time in a long time, I didn't actually build a save from the ground up. I mostly just took builds from the gallery. And honestly, I found a lot of good builds from the gallery. That little temple, or that temple that you might see in the background there, that's from the gallery. A lot of the other lots in the save are from the gallery. But this one specifically, I built myself because I just had a hard time finding a marketplace that I thought fit the vibe that I was envisioning. Also, sorry, the phone is ringing in the background. But yeah, I'm excited to really dive in and explore these lots because for the most part, I might have went in and like fixed a few things here and there, but I haven't really touched or explored the lots that I placed from the gallery. So it would be like I'm playing this for the first time. That's always so exciting. That new feeling. So like I said earlier, I hope that we're actually able to start playing this next week on stream. And also, I want to try to do that thing where people make like Tumblr stories. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I say that now, but I don't know if I have the will to do that. I'm gonna try though, because it doesn't really hurt to try. So we'll see. But yeah, I want to try to do that because I think that can be a fun way to also follow along with the story. But now going back to the video, just working on the bathroom, nothing too fancy here, just a very common community bathroom. Make sure we place a little changing table because that's a thing. If you don't know, it's a thing in the game that people sometimes forget when it comes to community lots, but I've placed it here. We have that seating area outside so we can just kind of sit and chill, maybe grab some snacks. And originally when I had this set as a marketplace, I had the top floor set in a way where there was a few activities you can do. We had some easels, we had, I believe, a candle making station, and yeah, a fabrication thing too that I might have added. I don't know if it was on the marketplace sublot, it might have been a different one, but the whole idea was for this to be a place where your Sims can just do some skill building and stuff. But now, since I plan on running it as a park, I don't know. I don't know what we'll do. Maybe I'll go in and change it a bit more. I might do, well, no, this room is too small. I was going to say maybe I can do like some type of yoga situation. But what I think I'll do is, I do have a sim in this save who is very into pottery. And I was planning on giving them a studio, but again, like I said earlier, these worlds are super small. So I was running out of space to do that. But now, since this is running as a park, I think what I might do, I might just make this like a classroom, and a classroom / pottery studio, or maybe just like an extra space. So if you have a sim that wants to, I don't know, maybe teach one of their crafts, or, oh, actually, yeah, we'll do that. We'll make this a classroom where people, or they offer, how do you call it? They offer like classes, like different skill classes. So maybe one day it'll be like a pottery class for that one sim, or it can be like an art class or a handiness class. I think that would be a cool idea, because again, this whole lot is centered around just community. So it makes sense for people in the community to come in and like share their expertise and try to teach other sims like valuable skills and stuff like that. So I think that's what I'll do for the second floor. Yeah, I like that idea. That's a good idea. I'll do that. And yeah, now we're just going around, adding some more stuff in. We're doing what I said earlier. I'm just adding some skill building activities to this top floor, because when you do a marketplace or some of the other sublots that come in a community space, you have to have those items down. But now, again, since it's not the case, because the game wants to break, I'll probably go in and change it up just a little bit. But yeah, honestly, I don't really think there's much left for me to say. I feel like I've said everything. I don't know how people actually create decent commentary when it comes to speed builds. I guess it's just something you get better with time. I'm mentioning Jessica PyYT because I mention her all the time, because she's just a really good builder and talented creator. But she does such a good job of like talking about the builds in a way that, even though she says a lot, it's all pretty relevant. Versus me, I just feel like I'm constantly stumbling over myself and confused. But, you know, it is what it is. Maybe that's my charm. Anyway, like I said, that's all I really have to say about this build and the sim. I'll say once more, I'm just very excited. I can't wait to jump in and actually play. Because nowadays, I mentioned this when I was in someone's stream last night, but nowadays I've really been into gameplay, surprisingly. Usually I'm a builder first when it comes to The Sims. That's something I always enjoyed. But I guess once you do so much building, especially when it comes to save files, I mean, I'm not tired of it. I still enjoy it, but at the same time, it's time for a change. So I've been really dying to do gameplay lately, and I'm very happy to jump into this. Same with Sims Busting Out Challenge. I've been enjoying that recently because it just allows me to go in and be dumb and play the game. And yeah, I am just really into that lately. So I think, oh, actually, wait, there's one more thing we should talk about this. So you'll notice that I'm taking out some items created by Ravishing. I forgot I did this. I'm taking out some items created by Ravishing, and what these items allow you to do, you can click on them and buy produce. So the one with the fishes, you can actually buy like fish for your Sims. And then we have those little produce boxes down there where it has the peppers, the apples, the tomatoes. You click on those and you can buy those items that are displayed. So you can actually buy peppers, you can actually buy tomatoes. And I thought that was a cool thing to do in a lot like this, because again, it's a marketplace, it's a farmer's market, so you should be able to buy produce. And even though it's not set as a marketplace anymore, those items still function the way that they're meant to. We also have some other items like the honey and the fertilizer that also works the same way. And then my talented buddy Sharisi, she has some grocery store deco sims, or wait, I forgot what they're called. Animated deco sims, yeah. She has some grocery store animated deco sims, and I might place them down as well. Actually, yeah, I can do that. Oh my gosh, I just got an idea. So for the Sims vendor tables that I was trying to figure out how to make actually like functional and actually have Sims go over there and sell stuff, think what I'll do is I'll just put those animated Sims behind the tables. So that way my Sim can buy like meats or flowers, because those animated deco Sims come with different things that they sell. That's amazing. See, this is why you should record stuff. Because it forces you to talk out loud. And when you talk out loud, you kind of fix the problem at hand. So yeah, we're definitely going to do that. But anyway, that's kind of what I did to add a little bit more functionality to the slot. How many times do I say functionality? Probably 1,000,000. Hope you're keeping track. But that's pretty much it when it comes to this marketplace. I hope you enjoy it. I think it turned out pretty nicely. I'm excited to play with it, especially since I kind of figured out all the things I need to figure out. Like I said, this will be up for download on my Patreon, the marketplace version and the park version. If you decide to download it, thanks. I hope you enjoy. If not, I hope you enjoyed watching it. And I will see you guys. Honestly, I'll probably see you tonight because I think I'll be streaming, because I usually stream on Friday, but we're going to see Weapons. If you've seen Weapons, how do you feel about it? I heard TikTok hates it, but I don't listen to TikTok. Anyway, that's enough for me, because the video will probably be ending soon and we'll probably be going into screenshots. So yeah, guys, I hope you have a good day, evening, morning, wherever and whenever you're watching this video. And I hope I see you soon. Okay, bye everyone. Have a good rest of your day or evening.